Okay, this video is about shortcuts. Shortcuts and saving space. So, the first thing I'm going to show you here is this website. It's called tinyping.com. I'll put that in the description on YouTube. But this will save on space for ping files and JPEG files, so you can reduce your images down. And I would probably do that first before bringing it into GameMaker Studios, or you could do it later, but it's probably easier just to make your images. If you're using Photoshop or something, or some other program to design your images, or even if you download from a site on images or whatever, you can drag the image into this tinyping.com and it'll reduce the image size down. But if you do reduce it down and go back into Photoshop or some other program and then mess with the image and then export it out, you're going to have to put it back into this website in order to reduce the image space again, of course. But that should help. That's one good thing to use to reduce your file size in GameMaker. Is this called tinyping.com. That's the first thing. And let me talk about backgrounds. I'm sure I've talked about that before, but I basically made a background in Photoshop, and it's just repeated bars. You can make anything you want, I guess, and for your backgrounds. But to make it repeat, you just right-click, create a background, bring the image in there. Alright, and then make sure the tile is horizontal, tile is vertical is checked, and that's it. Then go into your room and I'll talk about this in a minute here. Just go into your backgrounds tab and then go down to no background, select your background, and then it makes a repeated background. And then you can use X and Y coordinates here to adjust your background image. So if you change this Y 100 to 0, you notice that the gray bar is gone up here. You can change that and adjust it to make it go down more. See how the green line comes down? You can also move it on the X coordinates there and see it moves it this direction, just to get it more adjusted to your liking. And in this right here, the tile vertical, tile horizontal, you could uncheck that. You see what happens, it just makes it one continuous line up top. Or don't tile at all, it just makes that one. Tile both, or vertical, makes it that direction. You can stretch it. It makes it large and gets rid of the image, of course. So I would just keep it at tile vertical, tile horizontal, because that's what you pretty much want to do in the background, is repeat. And make sure it's visible in the room, and draw background colors checked. The speed right here, you can actually make your background move if you wanted to, or if you want to make it just static where it doesn't move at all, just keep it at 0. But you can move it on the vertical, up and down, or side to side horizontal. So if you want to make it move, you just put a number in there and then it will move while your object is moving or something, and I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so let me just show you that real quick, and then I'll move to the next thing. See, it's moving, background's moving, and then it's camera view is following an object. Or if you don't want it to move the background, just keep it at 0, and then you'll see the object moving but not the background. Well, the background does move because camera view is set up on it, so I guess you don't really have to have a move. See, the camera view is following the object, so that's why the background is moving with it. But now, see, it doesn't move at all, the background, because the camera view has stopped making the object. Camera view is following the object, so that's why the background is moving. Once the object's out of view and not in focus anymore, the camera view stops, and then the background stops moving as well, because the camera view is not moving. But if you don't have the camera view set on the object, then you could potentially have the background moving by itself. You know, one good way of making the background move would be like rain or snow or whatever, and then you would change the vertical speed, and then it would come down vertical and at a certain speed. Alright, so the next thing I'm talking about, let me take off the background here, because this next piece I'm going to talk about is going to be like, if you want to make a sky, like if you want to make 2 colors or 3 colors or whatever. I made this image in Photoshop where it has 2 colors in there, so it's like a sunset coming up or going down. And so in Game Maker you can choose a color for a full sky effect, and you see it all dark blue. Then you bring in an image that's very small. This image is only, the width is 364, height is 564, so it's not very big. And I went to images here and then just lowered the opacity down because it was too bright when I first originally brought it in. And then what you can do, so that way you can save on file size, is you can stretch the image. And one way of doing that, and go into the object tab, and you have scale X, scale Y. You can even rotate it and even change the color of it, the alpha color. Or no, this would change the opacity. This would change the color. So, and you could flip it too. So what I'm talking about here is, see, when you go to the color, you can choose a color like green and see how it changes. So this is a good way of not bringing in so many different images of different colors, but using Game Maker's settings to change the color so you can help with your file size. So you can do that with any object, change the color. If you want to change it back to the normal color, just go into the color and change it to white. White will bring it back to the regular color you had originally. You can change the opacity here in these settings here, so it makes it very faint. Or bring it back. Can't go up to 500, maybe 4. No, maybe I think it's only up to 100. Or I don't know what it was before. 200. And you can also rotate it. See how it rotates it? Or you can put a minus in there and it'll make it go the other direction, rotate it. Now if you drag it, then Game Maker kind of messes up a little bit, but you can just change the settings back to -1 and it brings it back. So I would get it in where you want it at, adjust that first, and then change the rotation on it. Now this won't animate it, this will just keep it rotated. That way you don't have to and what's good about this is that if you do another image, you could copy this, Control C, Control V, and you can copy that and you can rotate this image but keep the original alone. So that's great so you don't have to keep importing new images into GameMaker and rotating it, or even you can even change the color and it won't affect the original image. So yeah, so lighter colors, see that's green, this one, the original one, was orange. So see how you can mess with the colors in GameMaker settings here, and you don't have to re-import new images in there and change the color. You can just do it on the whim in GameMaker settings, the save file space, and then you can press Control C, Control V, and then you can copy that and have another image of the same color. Alright, so, and same thing, and then with, okay, so you can do that, and then with this object here, the square object here, you can do some animation within GameMaker. Go to Edit, and see how it rotates. I did all that in GameMaker Studios. You went to Animation, and then I just went to Rotate Sequence and press clockwise, and it animated the square box. Now when you do the animation, make sure you have enough space around the square so when it does animate, it won't be off the corner here, because if you make the square too small, like, let me show you what I'm talking about. So you reduce the size down to 40 here, and then you animate it. See how it's off? The square is outside the square image, and you don't want that unless that's what you're trying to achieve that effect. But in most cases, you want to have enough air around the object so that way it shows all the animation on all the corners. So you want to have all air around the square so you see all corners when it animates. If you don't want to do the rotation, you can also do, there's a rise, left, right, top, and bottom. You can change this frame to anything you want. I just did 15. If you do more, then it slows down the animation. If I do 50, it will really slow it down. See how it comes out like that? It's pretty nice. But the thing is, you gotta remember now, I did 50, so it's really gonna boost up the file size. So you gotta be aware of that too when you do animation. You also can animate like a fade color. See how it fades in. And if you didn't want that to blink so quickly, that color, then you can go down to the animations here and just copy and paste. Copy, paste, and then you would have another image of that color at the bottom here. And then see how it's not so, it doesn't jump so fast. And you would just copy and paste until you get it to your liking, so it slows down the animation. But like I said, file size. If you didn't want to save it, just exit out. Now I did save it for some reason, but let's go to colorize, and let me just go back to, I'll just go back to green or orange. Oh, it does do the animation on that. Well, I'll just leave it for right now, but you could make it disappear too. See how it fades. So you can do lots of different animation. You can flatten it out. You can morph it into another image. You morph it, it will have you find another image, and you can morph it into a different image. Shrink it down. So you can do a whole lot of different things. Pretty nice things with GameMaker Studios right off the bat without having to do all the animation within another program. Okay, so let me get it back to what it was originally. Okay, so now it's just going to animate yellow. Alright, so, and I got the crosshairs in the middle here. That's if I wanted to shoot in this location, or get hit in this location anyways, so that's why I kept the crosshairs at 79, and Y it's a 79 as well. Alright, and then the modify mask is just on the square itself, rectangle, with the manual, and dragged it into this one location right here. Bumped up the tolerance so it focuses more on the square. Alright, and then what I did was in here I went to made a crate, add event, and then it's going to move at 50 speeds going right as well as animate, and then I went to the main 2 tab and dragged over alarm, set the number of steps to 50, alarm 0, and then after 50 milliseconds it's going to change to a color. So the color I got from the main 1 tab, and it's called color sprite. So what's going to happen here is it's going to change to a pink color. Well, I think and the alpha is going to be at 1. So you could change it to 10. I think that would make it too transparent, I think. I don't know. But after 50 milliseconds, it's going to change to this color right here, where you can choose any color you want. And it changes to orange, but that's the only thing with the blend. The blend, whatever color it originally was, which is yellow, you would have to mess with the color here. So you would have to figure out what color to use here to make it pink or something. You can also go to define custom colors here, and you can also, make a color yourself, and then select the box and then add custom colors. See, it adds a color. Now the only thing about Game Maker here is when you do these custom colors, it's fine for right now, but when you save it and come back to it, it won't keep your custom colors. I don't know why. Game Maker will not keep your custom colors, so you can only do it in the now. So if you save it and then come back to it, don't expect any of these custom colors to be here. It's only in the now for Game Maker Studios. I don't know why it doesn't save, but it does not save your custom colors. So if you mess with the custom colors, you can mess with it in the now, and then when you save and come back to it, it's not going to be there. But one way to I guess deal with that situation is that once you color code an image and save it, when you go back to it, that image has that same color code, of course, but it doesn't keep your custom colors. But what you could do is take that image that you made a color for and copy and paste and copy and paste and copy and paste, and you'll have that same color of that image. So if you change this yellow box to a blend color of orange or something, and you come back to it after you saved it and you open it back up, and your custom colors are not saved, of course, you can copy and paste this image, and you'll have that same color. If it's like a static image of something like a fence or something, or whatever that's static in the game, you could copy and paste, and keep that same color. So you could do it that way. Okay, so after 50 milliseconds, it's going to fade to a certain color that you choose. And that will save, of course. When you save it and come back to it, you'll have that color. But like I said, when you're messing with the colors in that custom box, don't expect it to be there when you reopen it up. For some reason it's not there. For some reason Game Maker Studios does not have it's like a bug or something. Alright, then also I did the same thing with the background. It blinks to a different color after 100 milliseconds. It fades, it blinks into this orange, which makes it red on screen because of the original color of the sky. So if you wanted a certain color, you would have to play around with these colors in order to get it to your liking, because it's dealing with blends, it's not dealing with just a color. So whatever color was originally when you brung it in, you blend it with a different color, it may change the color to some other color. It's like blending, mixing paint or something. It's gonna be a different color. So you gotta mess with the blend colors in order to get it to your certain color that you like. And if you wanted this color to fade, I'm not sure how to do that. The only thing I know how to do is blink it into a different color if you wanted to change the color, of course. And if you didn't, you just take all this stuff out and it would stay that original color that you brung in. But if you wanted to fade, I'm not sure how to make it fade. I do have my previous videos that had done fades with backgrounds, so you can look at that video which is talking about how to fade from night to day or whatever. But that's totally different from messing with the blend colors here. This is just blinking in. So the sky is at 300, and you can also, with the sky, you can also right click here and you have all these settings right here. Delete, edit, create code, instant properties, change position, snap to grid, copy, paste, lock the image down, rename object, copy instance. So you can lock down the image so that doesn't move, and you can mess with another image on screen. It's kind of, let's see, it's not messing with the image. The background is locked, but I'm trying to figure out, okay, maybe I have to get the image off the screen first, then lock. Okay, so now the background is locked, and now I can move the object instead of moving the background image. Or what you could do is unlock the background. You could click on the background, copy it, Control C, and then delete it, and then move your object where you want it at, and you can copy and Control V will paste it back. So you could do that too if you didn't want to lock the background down. That's another way of doing it. And there's some shortcuts right here under the object tab. Down below there's, like I talked about, Control plus C will select it, Control plus V will paste it. So there's some options right here for shortcuts. Then also one other thing that you could do with Game Maker is that you have a whole bunch of objects in your object folder, and I know with Game Maker I'm trying to select a certain object in the game, and I have to press the arrow button down to keep selecting a certain item. You can actually move your object all the way up to the top by just dragging it and move it to the top, and see how it moves to the very top. So then you can go into because you can go in here, and you may have a whole bunch of objects, and then you have to scroll down here and press the arrow button here to scroll down to find your object. But what you could do at the beginning is just drag your object at the very top of your folder. Then when you go to your selection here, you can just click on it right then and there without having to go down, scroll. Or you could right click here and create a new folder or something. Create another folder, and then drag your object in that folder there, so you could have it separated. So you could do that too, so that you can just find it easily by the name. So you could do that as well. Alright, thanks for watching.